This is the 21st season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, AFTCO, Pro Guide Batteries, Spro, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. Recorded shows this week. Had a good week of shows. We started with one of the heaviest winning weights in Elite Series history, with Tucker, who had like 30 plus pound bags. Basically, in one day, he had the winning weight of what it was at the Sabine River, which was the next week, which was a cruel twist of irony that they went. The Elite Series went Lake Fork and then Sabine instead of Sabine and then Lake Fork. But I guess in my old age, at age 40, I am an old school dude who likes to see grinders every now and then. You know, I grew up in Central Illinois with the Assumption Bass Club, where if you put 3 in the box, you're cashing a check, 3 14 inchers. If you had a limit, you had a chance to catch a win. I kind of like those grinders. And someone else who really likes the grinders, he went 12-2, 8 pounds, 7 ounces. These are all 5 fish limits. This is not a big bass tournament like it's what went down at MLF Heavy Hitter. So 12-2 on the first day. Massive first day. 8-7, 8-9, and then 9-10, 38-12, which going into the week at the Sabine River, I'm sure the numbers 38-12 did not mean anything to Pat Schlapper, but I'm sure they do now. Thanks for jumping on BTL, Pat.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Do you remember was it the Classic or ICAST a couple years ago where we had the big bite? We had a picture of me and you holding the big bite worm that was like 3.5 feet long.
Oh, yeah. That was at the Classic. Yeah,
that was at the Classic. I would venture to say that if you were to take all of your keepers on the final day of the Sabine River and put them nose to tail, it wouldn't equal as long as that one plastic worm that they had at the Classic.
Probably not. It certainly didn't weigh as much as that big rubber worm, but it was enough. It was enough to get it done. That's for sure.
Yeah. Congrats on the win. Like I said, recorded show. You've had a couple days, a little bit of time to let this sink in. I know you've been doing the podcast and the show kind of circuit. Just talk about what that's like. There's certain guys who, like, you know, they're jumping on the shows all the time. They're giving their opinions and all that. Talk about what it's been like for the last week as an Elite Series champion, dealing with all the media, the press, the shows, and all that. You wore out, you excited, you cool, you tired of talking about it, you ready to talk about it for another year?
No, I mean, it's part of the deal. You know, you gotta kind of take advantage of it when it happens. And like I've been in sales for over 20 years in the fishing business, and I know, like, when the time comes, you got to capitalize. So I've been on the phone a lot with sponsors, trying to do everything I can for them. And I haven't reached out to everyone yet, but just trying to make sure that they can get everything that they want out of it. And then of course that will help me hopefully on the back end. And then I've had, a really good phone call this morning with another company. And like, you can't make stuff like that happen. It has to be organic. And when it happens, you got to take advantage of it. And I'm taking advantage of it as best I can, and I'm not letting any opportunity slip through my grips. But it's a lot of work. I've been working hard, and like I haven't gotten much rest, and honestly, I haven't had a whole lot of time to sit back and look at that trophy and enjoy it. But that's okay. I mean, who knows if I'll ever win another one.
Looking at the weights, one of the things that's unique in professional bass fishing, which is similar to golf, is it's not a one-day deal. It's a 4-day grind. It's a lot of decision making, and to lead a tournament like the Sabine River wire to wire, to be in first place for all the days. I mean, you had less than a pound lead over Stetson after day 1. Then you had a 4-ounce lead over Cooper after day 2. Then you had a 14-ounce lead over Koya on day 3. And then you ended up winning by a little over 2 pounds over Patrick Walters on day 4. What was the mental grind like on that type of fishery, being the guy with the target on your back from the end of the first day to the last cast on the final day?
That's not, a lot of people get like paranoid, like they don't want to be leading and like, I don't want that. I don't want the pressure, but I didn't feel any pressure this week, and I like to lead whenever I can. I mean, I want to have as many ounces or pounds over the competition as possible. And you think like a 14-ounce lead doesn't seem like very much, but that's a whole fish on the Sabine River in a lot of cases. Like I weighed in a 0.92. There was a lot of people that I weighed in one that was 12 ounces. So that's a kind of a big deal. And like, I understood that going into it. Like this is the 3rd time I've been there. And like, I knew the caliber of fish you needed to win. Like a 1.5 pound fish is a good fish. A 2-pounder is like gold. And if you got a 3-pounder, I mean, you were living right. And I was just fortunate to get, I think, 7 or 8 of those 2 to 4 pound bites throughout the week. And I got them all on the boat. So the pressure of leading, that didn't matter to me. Like it didn't faze me at all. And I just knew, like, I knew I was on some of the right deals. I figured I felt really good every day. I felt really good the last day. And if I capitalized on the opportunities I would get, I would have a good chance of winning. So that's the mindset that I had all week.
You mentioned it was the 3rd time you were there. The first time, solid event in 2022, 2021. Yeah, 2022, I believe. 22nd place finish, but then in 2023, last time you were there, an 83rd place finish, and you back it up with the first place. Did history play a big role in familiarity with that fishery? I know it's you kind of have decisions to make. You stay close. Do you make long runs? What was it like compared to the last 2 times you had been there, just from a fishery standpoint?
I mean, like traditionally I fished in the Natchez River. Like the first year, that's when I did good. That's when I didn't do good, or where I didn't do good the last time we were there. But like, I knew from the last time we were there, a lot of the fish came out of that Taylor's area.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, where I started practice and had a really good first day. And then I went and checked the Natchez, and I saw that was not good right away. And this was, I think, was a big deal for the tournament. Is I went there for like an hour and a half, and I looked at it, and I caught 2 little ones and a redfish. I'm like, I'm done. I loaded up and went back to Taylor's, because the Sabine is too big to get caught up trying to find them in too many areas. Like, you just can't do it. And then as far as fishing around the ramp, the unfortunate part of the Sabine is so many people they just figure out the release fish. And there's, rumors of people, they just sit in the parking lot, wait to see where they dump them. I've heard of people sprinting down the shorelines, following the pontoon to see where they dump them. We really don't know how they find them, and it's pretty obvious. So I didn't want to get caught up in that. So like, I'm good buddies with Bob Downey, and we talk a lot throughout the days of practice. And he started by the ramp, and he's like, dude, it's blown out. He's like, it's not good over. So I got that out of my system, and I just really locked down in that Taylor's area, and dissected it, the sections that I was fishing, and figured out a few things that I think other people missed. So you can't get too spread out, run around on that place. It's really hard to have a good event doing that, in my opinion.
One of the things that I found interesting was, historically, over the course of Elite Series history, going back to 2006, when you have grinders, they're won by a guy who locks down in one area, picks everything apart, and says he outfishes everyone. You have a quote in Bassmaster that says the exact opposite. You said, quote, I caught my fish a few different ways. I had figured out different things and knowing when to do each one each day was key. But this is the quote that I found interesting, Pat. You said, I think one of the biggest reasons I outfished a lot of people in the area is that I was fishing a lot faster. A lot of people were fishing really slow, but I was just covering as much water as I could. And I think that made a big difference. That to me stuck out because that's not a quote you hear a guy winning on a tough body of water where 13, 14-inch fish are key say.
Yeah, that's true. And like, with the exception of the first day of the tournament, when I had that one kind of area where I caught all my fish, well, it's, small area, that I fished slow. And when I did go there, I did fish slow. But once I got out on the main run where everybody was fishing, I'd go run to hit a stretch, and I'd see one of the guys on a bank, one of the better looking banks, and I would go fish like 3 stretches and say a half hour, and I would run back by, and they would have gone like 100 yards. And I'm just like, what the hell are they doing? Like, I just like, man, you just got to covers like down there. Them fish are usually pretty aggressive. Like, you don't have to finesse them. Like, you just got to get your bait in front of them. And so I was just going on like 6 or 7 on my trolling motor, and just pitching at whatever was on the bank, the bank grass, the viney stuff, little piece of wood, whatever it was. And like, every once in a while, as soon as your bait hit the water, you'd get one. So I'm just like, I just got to get my bait in as front of many fish as I can, and I'll get the fish that I need to bite. So I think that was a big part of it, because if you sit in an area and you sit there and throw out the same cypress knees for an hour, waiting for one to swim up, or thinking there's one there that's just not biting, like, I didn't like that strategy. That's why I did what I did, and I was super confident doing it.
Now, you smoked him right off the hopper, though, like first day, right?
Well, so the first day, that was a critical decision there too, because of that area that I found. Like, and I know, like, throughout the week, I said, like, I was fishing to win, which you hear that all the time, and people will just say that but like where I was at in the AOI, I'm like, whatever, dude. I don't care if I get 80th again. Like, I'm only going to fall 20 spots, like, whatever. So when I found that spot, it was about as far as you could go. And I told and I knew there was other people that had probably found it because I seen them up there. So I was like, okay, if I'm in the top 20 in boat order, or takeoff, I'm going to go up there. If I'm not, I can't, I'm going to go run my Buzzbait stuff, because I was getting really nice fish on a buzzer in the morning. Then I draw boat 49. So I'm right, like, the worst possible, where it's like, oh, well,
Still
now I
have
don't know what
decision to make.
Yeah, like, if I was boat 80, I'm like, okay, not going up there. But then I'm just like, you know what? If I was in 20th in points or 30th in points, I would have not done it, because it was too big of a risk to bypass all my best Buzzbait stuff and get up there and someone's there, and then turn around and come all the way back and miss that morning period, because you couldn't just run up to this spot. Like, you had to put the trolling motor down to go through some areas. You had to idle areas. Like, it wasn't like just buzz up there, fish, and buzz back out. So I decided, I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go. Like, I'm just going to go up there. And I got up there, and I had talked to Kenta earlier, and I knew he wasn't going there because he was ahead of me. And I get up to him, and I'm like, dude, is anybody past here? He's like, nope, nobody's up there. So I got around the corner, and nobody was there. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, I caught a limit. The first pass I made through there, I caught one little keeper, and I'm like, oh boy, this ain't good. And then I started slowing down and really dissecting it, because when I found it, I didn't really dissect it. I just had a couple good bites and left.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a limit quick for like 5.5 pounds. And then I'm like, okay. When I got the bites, it was later. The sun was high. Like, the structure I was fishing, I'm like, I want the sun high, so maybe they'll suck into it. And then from about 9:30 to 10:15, I caught 4 really good ones, like really quick, and lost a couple other nice ones. And that gave me my bag. I had like 2 that were close to 2 1/4, 1 just under 2. And then I had that 4, like a 4.5 pounder, but it spit up 2 big bluegill. So it was 4 pounds, 5 ounces. And then I had like a 1.5 pound. So, and then I just hung around there, right? I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to see who else is coming in here. So I just kind of hung around till about 12:30, and then I left, and like nobody tried coming in there at all. So I'm like, holy balls, I might be able to get another day out of this. So, that was the strategy on day one. And so that area, I fished slow in there and really picked it apart to get them bites.
That was primarily buzzbait.
That was not, no.
That was not.
That was all this little jig that I make. I
You
caught
have
him
it
on this
right there?
Yep.
All right, let's go through it.
So they bit this really good the first day. So this is a jig that I make. It's a Do It Molds compact finesse jig, and then I had a sapphire blue big bite chunk on there, the smaller chunk. I wanted it.
Okay.
I mean, this thing is like compared to a regular jig, it's tiny. And I like painted with the Protect powder paint. I painted sapphire blue on the bottom and then black on the top, which just probably didn't matter, but I like it.
Yeah.
And then I hand tied it with finesse cut skirt material, and it's got a real like a short shank 2-aught hook, but it's got a pretty wide gap on it, and then a little stiffer weed guard because a lot of that stuff was real viney. And then around them pylons I was fishing, there was a decent amount of brush and rock. So when I just made this before I left, I kind of knew the type of stuff I was going to be fishing around. So I built it with the components for that particular body of water. So that was what I caught a good amount on the first day. And then I also caught some on a little creature bait. And then I think I caught a couple on the drop shot that day. I don't think I weighed them though, because once I figured out they would bite the drop shot, I didn't fish with it anymore because I wanted to save that for the next couple days.
Okay. That might be the prettiest handmade jig that I've seen. Like when you think of handmade jig, I'm not thinking of, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of like lead ball head.
No.
Around it like that.
You don't look at my Instagram then, obviously, because I make stuff that
do I follow you on Instagram, Pat?
Yeah, probably not. I'm just a mid-level plus size elite series angler that is just kind of around. I'm not one of the big guys. So
no, I follow you on Instagram.
But like I've been making jigs with Do It Molds since I was I think 12 years old, 11 years old. So and I take, I like making my own stuff, making them look nice, using the right components. That's one of the advantages of making your own stuff is you can't go out and buy a jig like that, a mass-produced jig with that detail and the quality, and just the weed guard's always straight and lined up, so the jig tracks right, and the skirt material is tied even, so it just looks better. And like you can't buy it mass-produced jigs with that amount of detail and quality control. And like when I'm fishing for that amount of money or to any amount of money around home, like I want to know that I have the best stuff in there and I've put the detail into it to make sure that everything is the way it should be. So I've won tons of money on my own jigs. I mean, a lot of money on
them. Blue crab imitator. You think that's what they thought it was?
I am assuming, like I just have learned over the years, like, I mean, you could catch them on other colors, but like black and blue, sapphire blue that's what you need there. And the blue crabs, their claws are bright blue, and that probably has something to do with it. But that's just like I didn't throw any other color at all. Period. Like I threw that, and then the little creature baits I was throwing with the same colors. The worm was purple, but it was, the worm was purplish blue, but that's the only thing that wasn't black or black and blue or sapphire.
It's just certain parts of the country that sapphire blue, there's like the guys who are real jig aficionados. I don't know a single one of them that doesn't have a stockpile of sapphire blue.
Yeah, it's good.
It's like
it's good everywhere.
A jig fisherman's color. Not all the time, but it's amazing how you start digging around guys who have been flipping a jig around for a couple decades. They all have a lot of sapphire blue.
Yep, it's good color. I mean, it works, and I think it's a good, bluegill imitator on the back of, say, a green pumpkin jig or a variation of that. It's just a great color. And I just got a lot of confidence in it, not only down there, but a lot of places around the country. I like sapphire blue.
So you come in, you had to know you were going to be in the top 5 after day 1, at least, like coming in on the way in, like that, anything over 12 with a kicker is pretty strong, right?
Yeah, I felt good about it. It's funny because like I had, those 5 for like 6 pounds or what, I don't even think it was 6 pounds. And I caught the first good one. It was like 219. I'm like, oh my God, I got one good one. I'm like, geez, all right, nice. Like I'll be in the top 50. And then it was like 3 casts later, I caught that one that was like 196. I'm like, holy cow, I got 2 of them. And then, I got the third one and I'm just like on cloud 9. I'm like, dude, I got like 10 pounds. And then I was pulled down. This is a super cool catch. Like I was pulled down next to this pillar that had like some brush washed up on it and had a shopping cart washed up on it. I kept calling it the shopping cart pillar. And I was dragging these other pillars, and I was literally like 4 feet from this shopping cart pillar. And I'd fished it like, I don't even know how many times. And I'm just like, I dropped my bug in there and just one ate it. And I set the hook, and this giant mouth came up, and it was all in like one motion. I flipped it in the boat, and I'm like, oh my God, that's like a 5-pounder. It was just giant. And then I was like, dude, now I'm going to be in the top 10. Like, I know I'm going to be in the top 10 as long as I get back.
Was it in the cart, like the submerged cart?
No, it was like
it was right around.
It was, yeah, okay. It was like there was brush and like garbage bag. It was just stuff all. Yeah, I mean, you literally like when you say you're punching trash mats on the Sabine, it's literally trash.
Literally trash.
So, it is. Like my camera guy's like, why is there so many bottles in here? And I'm like, I just think they're just like, where should I bring the garbage? And she's just like, throw her in the river because it's just like everywhere. So yeah, it was shopping cart and like that's where I caught it. And honestly, that was the last fish I caught off that one in 3 days. But that must have been the king mama that was ruling it. And yeah, it was just like after I got it in the boat, I'm like, God, I probably shouldn't have flipped it in the boat, but it was just happened so fast. And then I got it and it was hooked good. But yeah, so when that happened, I'm like, okay, 12 pounds is always in the top 10. Like that's always in the top 10. There'll probably be a 15-pound bag. But like I'll be all right today. So yeah, it was a good feeling to have 12 pounds down there.
That had to change your decision making for the next couple days then.
Yeah, it did. Then 4 bites, dude. 2-pounders are gold. And I knew from practice, because when I went there late on day 3 of practice, like the first cast I made, I caught one that was like 2 pounds. And then I cast way on the other side and I caught one close to 3. And then I shook off another one I pulled to the surface that was over 2. So I'm like, okay, I got 4 of those good ones, but I know I haven't caught the one close to 3. I know I haven't caught that one. And it was in an area where I don't think they were going to leave. I don't think there was a bunch of fish. Well, in fact, I know there wasn't a bunch of fish swimming to it because I didn't catch much after that. But I still thought like, I got to go back up there and start on day 2 because I know there's still more there. And I know there's at least a couple more quality ones. So that's where I started on day 2 after, like I knew Brian Schmidt knew about it because like he was talking to Bob and Bob's like, or Schmidt's like, Pat went up, beat me up there, blah, blah, blah. And he came up and talked to me in the morning and he's like, I just want you to know. Or he's like, I just want you to know I found that spot, but I am not going to go up there. I'm going to respect it. And I said, I appreciate that. I said, I don't know if there's anything left, but I appreciate you telling me so I didn't run all the way up there and you were sitting there. And he's like, yeah, I won't be there. So he wasn't there. I rolled up and I'm 99% sure I caught that one that I caught in practice that was close to 3 because it was on the next pillar over and it looked exactly the same. It was like the same kind of white color. I'm 99% sure it was the same fish. I caught a small keeper and I caught that one. That was the first. And then I came back later in the afternoon and filled my limit with a drop shot and then once again left it. But that was That was the end of the road for that spot. I think I might have caught one small keeper on it days 3 and 4.
And then you just started covering water.
Yep. Yeah. So like even on like day 2, I caught those 2, the one good one and one small keeper. And then there was some bank close to it. I was flipping and I caught a nice one there. And by a nice one, I think it was a 134. So a pretty good one. Yep. And then I went back before I left there and like picked up the drop shot and like I fished it with the jig and the creature bait, didn't get any bites, picked up a drop shot. First cast, I caught a 1.5 pounder. Next cast, I caught a short. And then I caught another keeper. And then I'm like, okay, they're going to bite that. I can come back when the sun's up later each day and catch them on that. So I never made another cast after I caught those ones. And then I just went and ran bank because that day I still had one really tiny one and I went and ran bank and I got 2 good bites, lost one and caught one. And that was my bag for day 2.
I want to get into this buzzbait. I'm excited. I'm a bit of a buzzbait aficionado. Like I love them. I can't pass up a tackle store that's got a buzzbait that might clack, squeak, look differently, have a different trailer on it, skirt. Do you have the buzzbait there that did a lot of that damage on the final day then?
Yeah, it did a lot of damage. I did day 3, I did actually start in that area where I caught him on day 4 and I caught one small keeper there, but yeah, that's the buzzer.
Yeah. So I actually have that. I've had like 2 or 3 of those for a number of years. I think someone gave them to me or something and I've used them and I like that little, talk about the features of it because it's a unique buzzbait.
Yeah, so basically the history of it with me is like I used to love the old school lunker lure, original lunker lure buzzbait. That's what I threw. And God, yeah, that's awesome. Oh man, those bites were they were so awesome, them bites. But I used to throw the lunker lure and they're just not the same anymore. I don't know. I can't get them to run right. And so after those kind of, I feel like weren't like they used to be, I just bought a whole bunch of different buzz baits to try to find one I liked. And this one I ran across, I was watching an event on Lake Murray years ago and an angler was using it and I'm like, God, that sounds good. And he said that it was a Brazalo custom. So I looked it up and I just ordered a bunch of them. And I started messing around with it, and that's the only buzzbait I throw now, just because it's got that brass bead that's a clacker. You can kind of adjust it.
Yep.
And then it has, if you look at the wire, it's got that drop down instead of being straight like most buzzbaits are straight. So your toad runs more on the top of the water. Where this one they designed to keep that toad under the water. And if you notice, a lot of the bites, it's not like a big explosion. It's just kind of like they come up and since that toad's lower in the water, they just kind of eat it and it just a boil. Even the little ones did that. The big ones did that. So that's a big feature of it. It's got a good hook. And then the other thing is I don't know if you can see on there, they like tie braid around the eyelet.
Yep.
And like at first I'm like, I don't really know why they do that, but I'm like, they just do it to keep your line tie from sliding. But what it actually does is it increases the rigidity of it. It doesn't let this flex out as much because that pressure keeps that together.
Oh,
so it's just, they just did a lot of stuff on, it's just unique. And the sound is great. It's got a good hook. I don't know. I like it. And it tracks true because of the wire they use and that tie in that eyelet. Like it doesn't get all twisted up and out of whack. I mean, yeah, you'll have to tune it. If you catch one, like you might have to flex it down to make it hit the bead. And maybe you got to do this to make it track perfectly straight. But it's not one of those ones where you cast out and it just swims straight to the right or straight to the left.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there bending the wire and then you can just never get it right. And that's what always frustrated me with, I literally have a tote full of buzz baits, Cavitrons, like anything you can think of.
Yeah.
And this is just my favorite one. That's just this is my favorite one. It's the one I've thrown for I don't know however many years. I mean, basically, I just bought a whole bunch of them when I ordered them, and I'm still working on the original, ones that I had. So
Yeah. I was showing that
it's a
bite
cool
right
bait.
there. That's that bite you're talking about where that buzzbait helps because watch, boom, like there is no massive explosion. That is a
Uh-huh.
fish that is eating it right there.
Yep. And if you pay attention to when I got them in the boat, all of them, they got it so far down their throat, even those little 12 inchers, like you got to like dig down in there to get it. Like I think it's just easier for them to get it when it's, that half inch below the surface or whatever. I don't know what the measurement is, but
Oh yeah, that is buried right in the roof.
all of them. I mean, it's all the way to the back. I think the only one where it was not as deep was the biggest one I caught that day. It was still hooked really good, but it wasn't like back to the crushers.
White toad versus black toad. I mean, you're on a weird, like Sabine, you would think this time of the year, I've always heard you want to do the shad with the shad spawn and go with the white, but you were straight up black toad on the back of this thing.
Straight up black toad. That water was, well, I mean, throughout the week of us practicing, it got a lot muddier because of all the boats running around in the wind. It's just kind of a dingier water. I always just like black better than that. I just think they can see it better. So that's what I did, was a black toad on there.
And then the other thing that I thought was interesting is you got guys that are silver blade guys and guys that are gold blade guys. Is that the watercolor again, where you chose that color of blade as well?
If I'm like, for whatever reason, if I'm fishing like tidal stuff, I just like gold. I don't know, and I just, maybe it's just I don't, in my head, but I like gold, like gold blades on my spinner baits. I like a gold chatterbait blade if I have that option, and then the buzzbait I like gold. Plus, I think just not many people throw a gold blade on a buzzbait. It's either the traditional nickel is what most people throw, and then maybe a black blade. But gold is just not a super popular blade color. Now it is, I guess, but it wasn't. You didn't hear about it as much, I guess.
How important is your line selection when it comes to that? I know there's some guys that are fluoro on their buzz baits because they do want some stretch, especially when they're throwing a toad on it. There's other guys that are braid guys. Run through just your setup that allowed those fish to be pegged so good when each bite was so important.
I mean, I have thrown it on fluoro. It just depends on the rod you're throwing with, the line and how you set the hook. Like I was throwing a 7'3" medium heavy fast St. Croix Victory. So it's
got some backbone to it, but a little bit of tip.
But it's fairly parabolic. Like I was actually using the same rod for flipping too. Like it's a little, because it's a 7'3" versus say like a 7-footer. It's a little more parabolic. And then because I was running straight 50-pound Sunline SX1 braid for my
you were braiding it
straight braid. Yeah, homie, don't play that fluoro on there.
Let's see if we can get the rod bend in here. If we just get the bite, I think it's this next cast here. Photo. These are on Bassmasters YouTube. Some great highlights. Let's see if we get a rod bend. I'm curious. No, that's just a small fish getting winched back to the boat.
That's not a small fish. That's a 163, baby. That's a freaking.
My bad. My bad.
Yeah, that's a good one, dude.
So you don't give them much chance. I noticed. Like you're
Why?
not.
No, man. No way. Especially like if it's a 6-pounder, you got to let them fight a little bit. But yeah, when it's like that size, I'm not giving them a chance. I'm just getting them in the boat. The better one that I caught, that one that was close to 3, that one you might be able to see the rod flex on a little bit better, because that one like kind of got the better of me by the boat. It kind of got under the boat, and I had to actually fight that one. But the other ones, it was pretty short work.
I got you. We're right there, first break of the show. When we come back, more with Pat talking about his first win. I want to kind of have you look back over the course of your career, what it means to get this win. I read in one of the articles or something where you were telling someone you didn't know if you were ever going to get a Elite Series win or something like that.
I don't remember saying that, but I think Polinick put that. But I mean, I think all of us think that. But
yeah, Polinick put that when he was talking about a fellow Bass Nation championship. But I want to get your thoughts on what the win means, on the feedback that you've gotten from so many of your peers on the Elite Series, and then what it looks like moving forward, because you're going into a stretch where you should hypothetically catch him in a couple of the next upcoming ones, and maybe make a run at the Knoxville Classic coming up. So it is BTL with Pat Schlapper. Is it Schlapper or Schlapper? I go back and forth.
No. It's Schlapper. You're saying it properly.
That's what I thought. There's certain guys that I've known for decades, and then so there's a guy who runs a tackle shop in Oklahoma called Lucky Lure Tackle, right? I've known him for 15 years. Hey, what's up, Michael Strands? Come to find out, it's German and it's Strauns, and he calls it Strauds. Well, I mean, I've probably called him Strands 75 times over the past 10 years. Never said anything. And one of my other buddies, who's like working with him now for Juices Jigs, he's like, you're butchering that guy's last name every time, right? And he's just too nice to say anything. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, it's Strauns with the long A.
Yeah. So a lot of people say Schlapper, and like I'll usually tell them like, no, it's Schlapper, but like I'll only tell them so many times. Like if you don't get it after 2 times of me telling me, then just call me the wrong name. Like I don't. That's fine. I've been dealing with it my whole life. So
listen, I've been interviewing guys for years who still think my last name is Panger and not just a nickname for Pancrack. So anyway, it's BTL with Pat Schlapper. We will be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
This is Gamakatsu's new Nano Alpha line of hooks. If it looks familiar, that's because they are. It's the same shapes and sizes in the round bend and the EWG and in the new Horizon head that you know and love from Gamakatsu, but there are a couple new features with this Nano Alpha, which is this little green label that you see on the packaging. First off, 2 times faster hook penetration. That's because of the Nano Alpha smooth coating on it, and also it is 4 times more corrosion resistant. Check it out, Nano Alpha.
I've been using Sunline Shooter for the majority of my career. Millions of dollars made, lots of bass caught, and the gnarly, gnarly stuff. If you need a abrasion resistant, tough fishing line for the really, really mean stuff, Sunline Shooter is for you.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top 1 Strike King.
Gear that just plain works. Cast after cast after cast. AFTCO. Any fish, any water.
Welcome back. Well, during the break, I saw you messing around. Was that the Buzzbait rod and reel that you were playing?
Yeah, with? I had to go get my charger, and then I was just like tinkering with the rod a little bit.
Feel free to show it off if you want to. I mean, this is a time and place.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
I'd love to.
Let me see if I can get it. Ooh.
Oh,
that's the. I mean, it's
is
the
that the
7-3.
actual setup? I mean, is that the one?
This is it. I haven't done anything to it. This is it right here. Yep.
Very nice. What's the gear ratio on that reel?
8-1.
Oh, so that's a fast one.
I was fishing it. Yeah, that's a fast one. Yep.
Very
so
nice.
yeah, that's the 7-3 medium heavy fast St. Croix Victory. And then they make the same rod in the Legend Tournament, which I was using the same rod in the Legend Tournament, but the Legend Tournament's a little bit stiffer. So that's what I was using for my jig. And then I was using the 7.3 medium heavy fast Victory for flipping the little creature bait. With both of those, I had 18-pound Sunline shooter on. So basically the same rod or a variation of the, rod between the two models caught all but, I don't know. I think I weighed 2 fish on a drop shot throughout the week.
And you said SX1 braid or 2?
50-pound SX1.
That's
SX1.
like as OG as it gets. The SX1. That's as OG as it gets in the Sunline braid line.
That stuff is just, I love it. I mean, that's what I still throw that on a good amount of my spinning reels, depending on what I'm doing it with. Not 50-pound, obviously, but that's what I throw on like all my top water baits. Like spooks. I throw 30-pound. It's I don't know. It's like it's my favorite braid from Sunline.
You have a Bass Nation Championship 2021?
2020.
2020. Pickwick?
I think it was 2020 Pickwick, yeah. Yep.
That had to be a pretty special trophy to get your hands on, but what did it mean to get your hands on a blue trophy on the Sabine River? Like that had to feel amazing.
It did. I mean, yeah, the Nation Championship was really special too because of kind of how it went down and how everything happened and like kind of blew it out of the water on the last day. And I was working so hard in the opens that year. I had quit my job to just try to make it through the opens. And that was the COVID year. So it was all messed up. And like, I was doing good in the opens points, but, but to just win that tournament and all of a sudden, boom, fishing the elites, made the classic, all in kind of one shot. And then to, qualify through the opens too was definitely special. But the Elite Series win is that's kind of the next level, right? I mean, there's just so many people that fish for 20, 30 years and never get one.
It's the top level. It's not the next level. It's
well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like just as far as like what it could potentially do for someone's, I mean, I don't even, Mercer always gives me crap because I don't call it a career because I don't think it's a career. I mean, I don't know what it is. Take the next step in my Elite Series path, I guess. Like when you get that credibility of having a win, I just think if you capitalize on it, you could get to that next tier of partnerships and just recognition and people knowing who you are. And I think you get a little different level of respect. And maybe that's right, maybe that's wrong, but when I was leading on Tweedle Bend last year and had a 6-pound lead going into the last day and got beat, that's not the same. You know what I mean? You can lead and do well, but until you win, I really think, that's where you can maybe jump up to the next level of being relevant anyways.
You have a really cool story. You were like late 30s, right? But when you started kind of really going
37.
after this deal, yeah. Like, did you always have that goal? Like, was that always something like, even when you, like, is that like why you kind of started at Shields and were in there because you wanted to get into professional tournament fishing scene? Or is this something that kind of happened organically?
Well, I mean, I had always, I'd fished tournaments since I was in 7th grade. And like, I always, you always have that in the back of your mind. Like, I want to do it. And I went to college to be a teacher and I graduated in 2006 and I had worked at Shields part-time since 2004. And I couldn't get a teaching job because that was back when teaching was a desirable job in Wisconsin. Now I could probably walk in anywhere and say I got a degree from 2006 and they'd probably hire me in a second. But back then you could, I mean, you'd apply against 200 or 300 applicants. So I tried for about a year and a half to do that. And then Shields offered me a full-time job. And like, I'm so glad I did it because that Shields allowed me to be in the industry, learn a ton about it. I got to, fish a ton. They let me fish pretty much as many tournaments as I wanted. So I got to do that. I got to travel the country and fish tournaments and just do cool stuff. And I still wanted to try to do it at some point, but I was also one of those people where I'm like, I'm not going to go I'm not going to go into debt trying to do this. Like, I want to make sure I'm have financial freedom. And then I kind of got into, like, I'd say when I was about 30, I kind of gave up on it. I'm like, I don't really want to do it. Like, my job, I got a good job. Shield's retirement is just unbelievable, like unbelievable. And I was to the point where I was starting to see pretty good returns in that. I was making good money. When I was about 30 was when I really felt like financially, not like 100% freedom, but like I wasn't stressing about money at all. Like, if I wanted to buy something, I bought it. If I wanted to go on a trip, I bought it. It took me a long time to get to that point, but then I worked hard and was like, smart about a lot of things. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to work here till I'm, 48 and then retire and do whatever I want. And then when I was 37, I kind of like had a couple meltdowns at work and was just kind of not happy. And I'd seen like Fighter and Matt Steffen and Josh Douglas and all these people that I fished against and done well against. And I'm like, well, they're doing it. I'm going to try to do it. And so, yeah, I just pulled the pin when I was 37 and told myself I'm going to do it for 2 years. And if I don't make it, then I'll reconsider. And then I was just fortunate enough to make it through two avenues in 1 year. And now that's what I'm doing. So
You mentioned those names. You throw in Austin Felix, you can throw in a number of different guys. You're definitely in that throw in Bob, that neck of the woods up there.
Yep.
I've always thought that it's not underrated, but there's a hotbed in that Carolina area where you've got, the Ashleys and Montgomerys and Brian Thrifts and that whole kind of North South Carolina. It's a really good proving ground of it, especially over the last 10 years, with Seth getting an Angler of the Year in there and the victories. It seems to me like that Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, southern central Minnesota area too is a really good proving ground to make quality pros at both tours and levels with staying power. And you don't really think of it as diverse fishery, but I mean, you can't argue with the facts.
We have some of the most diversity up here. Like, I can't remember, somebody else asked me that too, or similar question. It's like, we have clear glacial lakes. We have every type of vegetation you can imagine. We have the Mississippi River. We have Great Lakes. We have algae bloom water. We have, we can fish however we want, versus like, say, a guy in Florida. He's not going out, throwing a hair jig for smallmouth. He's not going out dragging a rock. Maybe they go drag a little bit down there, but, we just have a lot of diversity. And, I think that's why we do well. And honestly, I think generally, it's not a knock on anywhere else, but I think the overall work ethic of the Midwest is it's a little better than some areas. Like, we know how to work. You look at, I put in a ton of time doing it. Like, Jay is, granted, he's like a prodigy, but like he's just
current.
Yeah, Bob, all it's just like I just feel like we maybe work a little hard. I shouldn't say that. I maybe that's just in my head, but we've got good work ethic for the most part, and I think that makes it different.
Style, like grinders, not afraid to put your head down and fish really hard.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Anywhere you're at, and like up here, the fishing's really good up here. Like, we're spoiled.
Yeah. I'm going up there in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, you fish the Mississippi a lot. Like, Mississippi is one of the best fisheries in the country all year. And like, all that you hear about all these destination places, like, I'm going to go to Fork and I'm going to go to St. John's and I'm going to go do this and do that, because there's all these big ones. And then you get down there and it's a tough bite and you're like, well, cripes, I can't even catch 3 fish in a day. where you come up. I mean, yeah, you hit those places at the right timing and it's great, but I mean, you don't hear much about it when it's tougher than heck down south. But up here, most even tough days, like you're going to catch fish. Like we catch fish up here. So, it's a good, really good area to be.
You've won a club tournament before, obviously. I'm just trying to think. You might be one of the two. Have you won this? Well, I'm going somewhere with this, Pat.
Oh, you can see my walls right now, dude. You would.
Let me see. Take the camera. Show them around.
Oh my God. Well,
flags.
this is just like, I mean, this is just one of them.
Oh dear God. I didn't see that.
And then,
coming.
I mean, and then I got like this side, and then like the windowsill across is all, and then my garage wall, I've got at least 40, 50 up there. And then I got a dozen stacked up on the table I haven't put up yet. I got a tote in the other room that I ain't put. I mean, I've won a couple of club tournaments.
Okay. So you've won a club tournament. That's a yes. Have you won like a Wisconsin state tournament? Like, have you been the state? You've been
won a state tournament. Yep. Won the regional.
You know where I'm going with this. You've won the regional. You've won the Bass Nation National Championship. Now you can skip the opens because on this path, this is the blue collar path. This is the club, state, regional, national championship, gets you on the elites, and now you have won the elite series.
Yep.
You literally have one tournament left. I don't know if there is anybody else who could say that they have completed the entire path of the grassroots journey with Bassmaster with the first place in every single thing.
It's crazy too, because like I won Angler of the Year in my club to qualify for the state tournament, won the state tournament, won the regional, won the national. And that was all in like 1 year. So it wasn't like I qualified, I didn't like qualify for the regional by getting fourth. I like won. Like I just won everything up to it. So it's that I like that part of it. It's a cool I just haven't like I had a post back when I got back from winning the nationals and where I had all the plaques like lined up on the boat, and like the progression of it is really cool.
You fished in 4 classics too.
Yeah.
You didn't fish in the 22, but 21, 23, 24, 25. You've had to work the expo, all 4 of those classics to this point. Haven't made the top 20.
No.
I mean, you're in position to make a run. I think you're in like 50th, but there's still 3 tournaments left. A lot to run on that. Like, is that a goal now? I know it obviously is, but does the Elite Series win kind of change things to where you're like, all right, like I need to get back to as many of those because I want to touch that trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously want to get back there, and like that's the goal every year. And like the first part of the year, I was really stressing out about it because I wasn't having I just had a lot of crazy things happen to me, like out of the ordinary, just that were working against me. And honestly, like I didn't change my mindset until Fork, where I'm just like, whatever, I don't care. I'm not gonna make the classic. So let's just fish and try to have fun, not worry about it. And just fish stress free. You're never stress free, but just like, let's not worry about it. Let's just go fish and see what happens. And then had a good event at Fork, and then I go win the Sabine. And obviously I moved up from 89th to 50th, 56th or whatever now. So there's a chance, but I'm still not really thinking about it because like I want to try to harness this and stay in this zone. And if I'm going to be 100% honest with you, I want to be at every classic, but if there's one that I can miss, it would fricking be Knoxville, because seriously, think about this. So let's say I make it. So I will have fished 5 classics then if I make it. And I would have been 2 on Knoxville, 2 on Ray Roberts. Like,
grinders.
And I just don't. And it's going to be
just kind of played out for a classic too.
And it's just going to be let's all go down to the bridge and fight over Gussie's spots, and we know where I watched him win last year, like with my eyes, like he pulled up. Caught. So it just turns into one of those turd fests where it's like
I'm gonna clip this.
Yeah, I just like. And it's a great town and everything. they're supportive of it. The takeoff is great. Their boat landing is one of the worst, but it's for 50 boats you can do it. But I just am like, let's go somewhere else. So I want to be there for the prestige of it, especially if they get the payback, to where you can actually, even if you don't have a good tournament, you still walk away with some money in your pocket. But I want to be there. I'm not using that as an excuse, but if it was on like Gunnersville or somewhere where I'm like, heck yeah, I love, I want to go fish there. That'll be fun, but in Knoxville, I'm just like, yeah, if I make it, cool. If not, that's fine. I'll sit that one out and go work for my sponsors because, I just know how it's going to go. Unless something's changed down there and all of a sudden the largemouth are big and, there's other things going on besides how it's going to be won. Like, I want to be there. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm throwing the season away because I want to be there. But if I'm gonna, like, if you lined up all the places that they were going to be, and I could say, and you said, which one do you not want to be at, or which one do you least want to be at? I'd say Knoxville, every time.
I can't wait to clip this after you win, after you make the classic and win on Knoxville, and then I have you back on and I do that 2-minute clip.
Good. I hope it happens. And it could happen. I mean, like, the Sabine wasn't a place where I'm like, oh man, it's on the schedule. I'm pumped. I'm going to plan a separate vacation down there. But, the grinders are the easiest to win.
I wonder if anybody over the 75 times that the Elite Series has been there has been sitting and say, like, Kansas, and they're like watching that live coverage, and someone blows a 12 3/4 incher over the boat, and they're like, yes, and the guy just leaps up off of the recliner and goes, that's it, I'm booking it right now. And just starts looking up VRBOs in Orange, Texas, so he can go get himself a piece of that action.
Yeah, I don't think so, but here's the thing with going there. I mean, I'm sure Bass gets paid a hefty amount of money. That's fine. But when you go there, like, if there's one place that makes you feel special, it's frickin' Orange, Texas.
Yep.
Like, they love having us there. They have a damn carnival there. They set up a carnival. They got fair food. They got live bands. They got a huge stage, huge area. There's tons of people there. Everybody's jacked up. Like, it's freaking cool because they like having us there. It's not like Gunnersville where it's like, oh, there's another big tournament this weekend. Like, it's not like that. So that is the cool thing about it is, yes, you're not going to catch 20 pounds. Yes, it's going to be a grinder. Yeah, you're pumped to catch a 13 incher. But when you bring them in and the fans are excited about it and happy to meet you and like genuinely happy to have you there, that's why they go back. And obviously they get paid too, but like, that's a big deal to us anglers to be like, holy cow, I feel like I'm kind of something out of the ordinary here.
And I also would imagine when you hold up a 4-pounder in front of them, it's like holding up a 12 or a 13 in front of someone at Fork or a 11 and at Gunnersville or something. I mean, you get just as big a bigger reaction for a 4-pounder than you would a 10-pounder in half of the other venues you go to.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, imagine being the one that catches it and pulls it out of there and you're seeing it and you're holding it. Like, it's like, I was in shock. Like, I thought I was like on a different planet for a second. So, I mean, yeah, to get to hold it up for them guys. I mean, there's probably people that have lived there for 20 years and not caught one over 2 pounds. So, I mean, it's pretty cool.
If you did want to fun fish though, could you like get on some flounder, get on some reds, get on some other like cool speed, like actually go have a fun day on the water?
Oh my God. Yes, for sure. Like, the first year we were there, I had never caught a redfish. And the first year we were there, I found this bayou that had good grass in it, and I was just hammering redfish on a chatterbait. It was so fun, and I caught like 2 gigantic ones flipping, like big ones. Like, it is so fun. Now, like, if I had to, like, if you told me, hey, you got to go out and find redfish, I don't know if I would I don't know if I could just drive out there and catch redfish. But when you're winding a spinnerbait and all of a sudden it's like, boat gets ripped out of your hand, like, right away it's a redfish. So, and yeah, I caught flounders on a chatterbait, and it is a cool place. It's just, if you just, I never caught any of them. I may have caught some little drums, but
Okay.
I never caught the sheep's head with like, aren't they the ones with like the human looking teeth?
Yeah, they're my favorite
Yeah,
species of fish on earth.
I've never caught one of them. I
Dude, they're
think
so
I'm
fun.
assuming they're in there. I'm sure they are, but
Yeah.
I did
You-
catch 2 gators down there, but on accident. But
like flipping or buzzbait?
well, the first one was on a buzzbait. Like I thought it was a piece of wood, and I'm reeling it by it, and all of a sudden, whoosh, and it was like a 3-footer, and I was like freaking out because I only had 2 of that buzzbait left. And this was the first day of practice, and Luke Palmer, I'll post the video. Luke Palmer was like out on the point of the bayou, and he's like, "What the hell's going on?" And I'm like, "I got this gator, and we don't have them up here. Like I'm not comfortable grabbing one of them." And I'm like, "Can you come get it off of here?" And he's like, "How big is it?" And I said, "Maybe 3 foot." He's like, "I'll be over there in a second." So he came over and got it off there for me. So that was on a buzzer. And then I hooked one flipping in a mat and like just pulled it, big one, and just pulled it to the boat. And it didn't do anything. It just kind of laid there. And I just pulled as hard as I could. And it just pulled the hook out of the top of its mouth. So that they both bit it. It wasn't like I was like trying to snag them. Like the one on the buzzbait, like the log just came alive and ate it. It was crazy.
Huh. You mentioned the classic. I want to go back and ask you about that. Would you be a fan if this is a Mark Jeffries old school BTL question? You're the perfect guy to ask it. What do you think a classic would be like if it went back to the summer and it went up to the Wisconsin/Minnesota area and they kind of did a break to where you would get the spring ones, but then every other year you would also get one up in the summer? How do you think that area would receive it? How do you think it would fish? Would it be awesome or would it suck?
It would be awesome. And there would be tons of people to get that type of event up here, depending on where they went. Like if they had that in La Crosse, in summer or fall, like it would be insane fishing and insane crowds. Like there's a lot of bass fishing fans up here. And I mean, I think like at Leech, well, you fished Leech last year. I heard
Dude,
that was
Leech
ridiculous.
on day 2, I'm not kidding. There was over 500 people that waited to watch Easton Fothergill lift that trophy for 3 hours because we had a canceled day. It was, as far as the eye could see, it was the biggest open weigh-in I've ever been to in my life.
Yeah.
Like I looked out there and I was like, God, Hank's going to ask me something because I had a satchel on the second day. And if that's the one place I was going to catch him, I was glad I caught him there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to talk about this. I was like, I talk for a living, Pat. And I looked out over that crowd, was like, damn, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it would be huge. I think it'd be really cool just for the sport in general.
I agree.
And then just for the people in this area, I just think it'd be awesome. And then just like, I understand why they do it in the spring or whatever, but it just doesn't make sense to me from a championship standpoint. It's like you have the championship in the middle of the next season. It's just weird to me. But I mean, obviously I'm happy to go to them, but I think it would be pretty awesome to come up and go to Sturgeon Bay, go to La Crosse would be the place.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe, that's the problem up here is with the classic, it's not as many boats, but
boats.
Yeah, but if you got to have
be badass, Pat.
Yeah, it'd probably be good, but then you got to have a stadium and you got to have someone that's going to
facilities. Yeah, La Crosse.
Yeah,
La Crosse would be. I mean, what's there around? Is there anything around the Twin Cities?
I mean, I think you got like Minnetonka and stuff like that, but I don't think you want to go there.
What about like Madison? Anything around Madison?
There's the Madison chain, which I've never fished, but I don't think it's that. Well, 50 boats would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Well, that's a different part of the state. There's like,
okay.
Wisconsin, there's like the northern guys like me, and then there's the southern guys, and then there's the river guys. That's kind of the 3 categories. I'm a northern guy / river guy.
That river dude, those river dudes in that St. Jude, they're a different breed. Like that
Different breed.
Corey Hout dude.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, you literally don't even have to know him, and you just shake his hand, and you're like, that guy likes fishing rivers.
Yeah. He used to fish the lakes a lot, and then he kind of transitioned into river fishing, and they've done pretty well down there.
I'm pulling up a map of Wisconsin here to get northern. So like yeah, you'd have to go out on the thumb there, like that Green Bay area, which they've done, which I don't know. I'm indifferent about covering a smallmouth classic. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would be cool. I think it would be very interesting to see, big bags of smallmouth, but
Yeah, there's
yeah,
not. I mean, yeah, you're there's not a whole bunch of options as far as like big metropolis cities in northern Wisconsin.
no, there's really not. That's the downfall with it. I mean, it would like La Crosse would be the place. Uh,
Oh, that would be just a wild scene.
Yeah, it would be freaking awesome. And like, and then La Crosse is one of the very few cities just in the, Midwest that supports bass fishing, that are like, we want tournaments to come here. They built the giant facility, big ramps for it. So it would be cool to see that. Especially if I was fishing, I would be pretty amped up for that. I probably wouldn't sleep at all that whole year if I was qualified for it.
At one point, didn't La Crosse have the most like bars per capita in the United States?
La Crosse or even Eau Claire. It's
drinking establishments there. It's also the only Elite Series event where a drunken dude in an electric wheelchair had to get escorted off of the venue because he just kept going back and forth in front of the stage over and over because it was the first venue we had gone to that had an open beer garden.
Wisconsin, you come up here and you're gonna have an event. You better have some beer available because we can drink
they
it.
had the beer available. He was escorted off the premise.
Yeah, I didn't know about that, but yeah,
that was like one of the very first times that they'd come to La Crosse.
Yeah, it's a good place. I'm jacked to go there. I'm so excited for that tournament.
Anything else you want to get in here before I let you go, Pat?
Not really. I mean, I get, like that jig. If people are interested in like making your own stuff, like I partner with Do It Molds, and like I have a discount code Schlapper20, just my first name with 20 beyond it. And I do a lot of videos on just build modifications and painting processes and just a lot of stuff that I do tinkering with tackle. So if it's something you're interested in, you can definitely use my discount code. They actually just told me today I have a discount code, so I didn't know that, or I would have shared it.
Now the pressure is on.
Well, I don't know if I get anything out of it, but just like, which is fine. I would rather just save some people money that want to do that stuff, because I'm pretty passionate about it. Like Caleb Kufal is with Do It too, and I don't know if people follow him and watch the stuff he does, but he makes really nice stuff too. So, I mean, if you're into that kind of stuff, follow me for that. And I do a lot of videos about that stuff. And I'm actually, when we get off here, I got to go do a little more detailed one on that jig for Do It. So
you said it's Schlapper20?
Yeah, it's capital S and then CHLAPPER 20.
Schlapper20, not Schlapper20.
Yep.
Is this the actual jig head here? I'll pull it up. Is it this weedless compact jig?
It's the compact finesse jig. Compact finesse jig is the one that this one is. That, and then like I've got a whole wall of molds. I mean, I use the hybrid grass jig a lot too, but this one's the compact finesse jig.
Weedless compact finesse.
Yep.
There it is, right
That's
there.
That's it. And then like I modify, it calls for a different hook than the one that I used in this particular one. Like I used a different, like that's what this next video I'm going to do is all like, this is the exact hook. This is the exact weed guard. These are the two paints I blended, the skirt, like I'm going to go over that. I do a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's a really nice jig. I mean, it comes through cover really well. It's good for dragging. I mean, it's just a really nice finesse jig. I like it a lot. And this is the first event where I threw it a lot because it was a new mold last year. I got it, I think, late last season, I want to say. So, but I do stuff, I mean, with all kinds of other molds. I mean,
that's just for the mold, by the way, people. That's not like 60. You don't like, if you get that, you're going to get, if you order that, you're going to get that in the mail. You're not going to get a
Yep,
bunch of jigs.
Yep, you get a mold. That's the thing is if people haven't done it before, your initial investment, like say you want to get into it, a melting pot's going to cost you $50. You're going to have to get lead and get good lead. Don't try to melt down tire weights, which I used to do. Like get good quality lead. You got to buy some powder paint and hooks, and there's an investment in it. But once you have the basic stuff, like you can make a really good high quality jig for like $1. You know what I mean? It's fun to do. Like I love tying skirts. I like blending the paints and making it look cool. I like bending hooks and modifying them for different things. And I like a really precise weed guard angle. A lot of the production jigs, the weed guard angle is just horrible. Like that, the weed guard angle is good.
That's
a lot of
wicked keeper.
It's really aggressive. And sometimes, you can actually trim it down. Like, some of the trailers that you'd put on there, like say you're going to put a little like college craw or something on there, the prongs are almost too big. So you can just either press them down or snip them. Like on that big bite chunk I was throwing on mine, I had to press them down a little bit or else it would have just ripped it in half. So, but it's a good keeper, but sometimes it's just a little too big for the piece of plastic you want to put on. So you just press them down or trim them.
Sweet. Well, I enjoyed this. Congratulations to get on the win. And you're out of room to put trophies and plaques.
No, yeah, I started a whole nother wall in the garage that I got a good chunk on, and then
I
got
got trophy wall that I've seen that's more impressive than that. Well, KVD has an entire wall of just magazine covers, which is a flex. Yeah. But the only thing that I've seen that's more impressive than yours is Steve Kennedy's dad.
Really?
Dude, Steve Kennedy's dad has like, and he should have like 5 times as many because he got a lot where it's like he has the plaque, and then every time he won more, they would give him like the little nameplate that's like 1986, 1987, 1988, where it should be 3 separate ones. But I mean, it's equally as impressive as your trophy room.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the basement. Like I said, I got this whole wall, and then my whole windowsill on the opposite side. There's probably 50 over there, and I got at least 50 or more out in the garage on that wall. And then I just have another 40, 50 just laying around in totes or ones I haven't got to put up yet. So
nice. I got a new plaque I get to put up, and it's for crappie fishing. It's a 5th place in a crappie tournament. And I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm jazzed to find a place to put the gold crappie plaque on the wall.
Yeah. Hey, that's something I do not have. I do not have a crappie plaque.
So, all right, I'm gonna let you go, Pat. I know that you've been doing a lot of interviews, and you worked me in on a very busy day. I greatly appreciate it. Congratulations on a well-earned and hard-fought Elite Series victory, and good luck in the remaining 3 Elite Series stops of the season.
All right, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. All
right, see ya. All right, there you go, Pat Schlapper. Obviously, a very talented angler, and a lot of guys were very happy. A lot of phone calls after they were like, dude, yeah, Pat got the job done. So, all right. There's the music. That's all we got for today. We will talk to everyone later. Don't forget, if you have not left a review on iTunes, if you are an iTunes listener, leave a 5-star review and a comment. Also, subscribe to BTL on the YouTube channel. That helps a lot, shows growth through the sponsors. Also, I do read the comments and thumbs up. So have a good day. See ya.